It's just amazing to be up here tonight giving this acceptance speech. It's a very surreal and somewhat terrifying but ultimately exciting experience. Okay, I tell a lie, it's mostly terrifying right now, but I'm sure I'll look back on it with fond memories one day in the far future. Probably tomorrow. When I was writing this speech, I thought, what are the main things people want from speeches? And I thought the two things I came up with were, they want the last two words of the speech to be open bar, and they want the speech to be short. So I don't have much control over the first one, but I'll try to aspire to the second one. My book, The Extremely Weird Thing to Happen in Huggabie Falls, as Michael said, has been sitting in my drawer for about 10 years. And it's about three best friends who live in the weirdest town on earth, and they don't like their weird town, and they always wish they could just live in a normal town with normal people in it, until one day that wish starts unexpectedly coming true, and they realise that being weird is what made their town so special. In some ways, Huggabie Falls is about celebrating weirdness and the things that make us all wonderfully unique. But what I've always loved best about it is it's silly, and it's a silly adventure story, and it's chock full of my quirky, silly, sometimes warped sense of humour. As a kid, I was drawn to quirky, silly books, and they were the sorts of stories I loved. If it didn't have humour in it, then I wasn't interested at all. Lost me right from the start. And now as an author, I just want to write these sorts of stories for a new generation of kids, including my own kids. And if these stories can have a good message, well, that's a bonus as well. So I wrote one of these stories, and that was Huggabie Falls. It was a quirky, silly adventure, and I personally loved it, but as an author, you never really know if anyone else is going to love it as much as you do, and if anyone else is going to want to publish it. Most of the time you think probably not. So it sometimes sits in your drawer for years, 10 years in my case. And when something like the Text Prize comes along and you actually win, it's such an amazing feeling to find out other people share your passion for your book and feel that. And I feel that passion in droves from Text. And I know they're going to do an amazing job with publishing Huggabie Falls. The reason why I entered Huggabie Falls in the Text Prize was that I felt it might be a good fit with Text. I was familiar with their list, and I love a lot of their books, but it was two books in particular that inspired me to submit to Text. Fire and the Sea by Mike Bartlett, which Michael already mentioned before, and A Toaster on Mars by Daryl Pitt. Mike Bartlett was the Text Prize winner in 2011, and although his book and Daryl's book are quite different to Huggabie Falls, I just thought they were both unusual and quirky books, and I just had a gut feeling that maybe Text would like my unusual, quirky book, and the rest is history, basically. So I want to thank Text, Michael, Jane, and really everyone I've met at Text so far has just been incredible and so nice and welcoming and so super enthusiastic about Huggabie Falls. I want to thank my beautiful wife, who's just over here. I'll point her out. Who always rearranges our busy lives to give me time for my writing. For example, I get to go and sit in my favourite coffee shop every Thursday night and write for a solid 2-hour block, which I realise is a massive deal. And not only does this give me valuable out of the house focused writing time, but it helps me to feel like J.K. Rowling when I'm in that coffee writing away. I can feel like an author, rather than typing books on my mobile phone and stuff. And I also have to thank my children. They're the ones I'm trying to get away from when I'm going to that coffee shop. Emma and Thomas. If you ever want to write funny children's books with lots of random humour, then all you have to do is have 2 kids, because they are constant fountains of hilarious and random humour. I'd also like to thank my agent, Dean Blacklock, who is never afraid to tell like it is, which we all need sometimes. My sometimes weird and quirky family, my mum and my dad. Mum for reading so much of my awful developing writing over the years, but always saying it was Shakespeare. And my dad too, mostly for all his bad dad jokes, which were a good foundation for me. I also want to thank my lecturers in the Advanced Diploma of Arts Professional Writing that I completed years ago for their advice and guidance and belief in me as an author. My mentor, Fiona McIntosh too, for her advice and encouragement and tough love sometimes. And my author and writer friends in writing organisations like Squibbie, which is the Society for Children's Book Writers and Illustrators, and the South Australian Children's Writers organisations, Echidnas and the Essay Writer Centre, because I'm from South Australia, I might not have mentioned that before. I'm not just in that organisation, living in Victoria. These organisations are incredible and full of amazing, dedicated and supportive people. And the more I was thinking about this, the more I realised the thank yous could go on forever, because I've been writing for 30 years. I don't want to talk about how old I am. And so many people have inspired me and encouraged me and informed me over the years. But importantly in the thank yous, as I've already said, a big thank you to Text for seeing something special in my book and giving me this honour. And lastly, I want to do a shout out to my fellow shortlistees who are around, and Sharon, Brendan and Carly. I haven't read any of your books yet, but I want to read all of them because they all sound fantastic. And I'm so happy that we're in this unique and unprecedented situation tonight, where we've all got publishing deals out of being shortlisted, which I just think is incredible, and so tonight can just be a true celebration for all of us. And I personally hope this is the start of a long and fantastic publishing journey for me with Text, and I hope it is for you guys too. And I'll be watching, and I hope to see your careers develop and soar as fellow Text authors. So thank you.